Watching the game were Martin Carney and Darren Maloney.
There are 3 late changes to the Dublin team. Mick Fitzsimons and Jack McCaffrey have been added to the defence, with Johnny Cooper and Kevin Nolan dropping out. Paul Mannion is back in at full forward, replacing Paddy Andrews. Meath have withdrawn Brian Mead from their midfield, with Dalton McDonough coming into their attack. It's expected that Graham Riley will move out to the middle of the field. Dublin this year going for 4 in a row. Meath trying to avoid losing 3 consecutive Leinster finals to Dublin for the first time ever. They're here as underdogs. They're absolutely delighted with that tag. Here's Mickey Newman for 2 points apiece. He's gone away from Devereux. Newman running out of space. Didn't work out well for him in the end, but he got past the Dublin cover pretty well. Reinforcements arrived. Michael Darragh Macaulay with a lot of space in front of him, and also Brian McMahon of Meath. Macaulay, Kevin McManaman. There's an incident off the ball and the referee is letting play develop. Kevin McManaman, Diarmuid Connolly spotted the gap, goes, backs himself, score. First point from play in the Leinster final. Dublin lead by 3-1. And Dublin saunter up the field again with Cian O'Sullivan. Paul Mannion in front of Kevin Riley. Diarmuid Connolly, Cian O'Sullivan there in support. McManaman is there too. O'Sullivan has got through on the 20-metre line. Really nice point.
Yeah, so composed that time when he did get the opportunity. That was a very difficult angle for a right-footed player, but just screws the ball off the outside of the foot and takes the score, and isn't he delighted with that?
Owen Harrington involved in the attack. They need something from this. They've kicked 3 wides. Donald Keoghan been allowed to go forward unhindered. Stephen Bray is normally the go-to man for a score, and he's done just that, and that is a lovely point from Stephen Bray. 4 he got against Kildare. That's their first from play, and their first in some 11 minutes. Shane O'Rourke, good catch. Brian Menton forward. Brian McMahon now from Ratoath. Here they come. Andrew Tormey. Lovely score. Simple game when you can do that right from the precise kick out from Paddy O'Rourke. Shane involved. 6-3. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Players hanging out of it. Kevin McManaman. Paul Mannion is there. McManaman from a difficult angle for a right footer. It's come back down. Here's Brogan. A brilliant block, and Brogan is still after it. Goal for Bernard Brogan. He was the quickest to react. A family affair in close to the Meath goal. 1-6-3.
Just watch the kick from a difficult angle, comes off the post, and Brogan is alert to the possibilities. The 2 lads are there actually. I think it's Bernard that puts it in eventually, even though Alan was in hand. But that's a little bit of luck that, you know, good teams often get.
Mickey Newman becoming more prominent, showing well for the ball. That's for Dalton McDonough. Cluxton came out of his line. Wonderful catch from McDonough. Now it's Stephen Bray, and the referee has given a free. The referee has given a free, had the hand up for an advantage. There was an advantage.
Oh, he should have let that play continue. That was a beautifully flighted ball over the top. Dalton McDonough got it. The referee should have allowed that to continue.
This is Newman, and that has gone over, but it should have been more for Meath.
Just watch this here. Dalton McDonough gets the ball in behind the defender.
And look at the referee.
The referee is well behind, okay. And
well, he didn't have the hand up for an advantage at all.
Not at all, not at all. He was too quick with the whistle that time.
Bernard Brogan from corner forward, backtracking and giving away the free. Graham Riley gets it going quickly. There's another one of those high balls. It's caught by Carroll. Runs into James McCarthy. Damien Carroll for Meath. Lovely turn from Damien Carroll. Really good scoring. They're starting to get some joy putting the ball in high.
Yeah, that's a wonderfully flighted ball over the top again. Carroll does very well to withstand 2 tackles that time. Gets onto his weaker foot. Takes a good score. Meath needed that.
Brian Menton. The ball was turned over. Now it's Diarmuid Connolly. Jack McCaffrey heading forward. To his right now is Alan Brogan. Brogan blocked by Keoghan, and now it's Bernard Brogan trying to hook it over, put too much on it. Paul Mannion, Kevin McMenamin screaming for it. This is for 3 in a row, and that is just too easy, far too easy. Cormac Costello, 1-8 off the bench in 2 games in the Leinster Championship. Kevin McMenamin turning Torrick Harnan, getting away from him. McMenamin! They are heading for Leinster title number 53. But this is the start to the second half. Dublin dreamt of and Meath dreaded.
And in fairness to Kevin McMenamin, he made the most of that opportunity, and that was a well-taken goal, but the marking by the Meath defence is dreadful.
Dublin keeping this relentless pace going. Cian O'Sullivan leaves it for Paul Flynn. Flynn has scored some spectacular long-range points in 2014, and you can add that one to the collection.
That's a wonderful score from Flynn, very easily taken, but the guy I'd like to credit with setting it up initially was the great work by, I think it was Alan Brogan, him freeing himself up over the other wing.
Stephen Bray in towards David, but it was too close to Rory O'Carroll. Picked up by Joey Wallace, then Andrew Tormey gets involved, and they have point number 8.
Tormey takes that very well, but I'm afraid Nick O'Dowd must be wondering at this stage what to do about things.
Stephen Bray. Kevin McMenamin in a centre-half back position, and here's Cormac Costello with no Meath back around him. Mickey Burke is busting a gut to try and get back at him, and does get back to Cormac Costello. Costello got back up to his feet. He's some player to be able to bring in, just 20 years of age, fantastic hurler as well, and he's recovered from injury and making a big impression in 2014. Kenny McMahon. Jack McCaffrey. Owen O'Gara, beautiful shape on the pass, and here goes Owen O'Gara, has Bernard Brogan with him. O'Gara! The icing on the cake. And he's making a point to Jim Gavin that he wants to start the All-Ireland quarter-final.
Oh, beautiful goal. Just watch the turn here on Harrington, just leaves him for dead. Ground opens up in front of him and fires it beautifully into the corner of the net. That's a textbook finish from Owen O'Gara.
David Bray. Oh, and here's Mickey Newman. Will they get a goal? Oh, yes, they will. Lovely finish from Mickey Newman. It doesn't take the bleak look off the right-hand side of that scoreboard in the top left of your screen, but they've got a goal, and Mickey Newman.
He took that extremely well, showed a lovely calmness, nice little pebble-skipped kick into the corner of the net. That actually, you know, it's a good reward for a fine display that guy has given throughout.
Bernard Brogan drifting out wide to get the ball. Donald Keoghan, a very different Leinster final for both of those men from 2013. Owen O'Gara in close, Kevin Riley. And then O'Gara and Riley getting stuck in.
Oh,
and this is completely unnecessary now at this stage. This is it initially, Martin.
Yeah, just watch it. Yeah, just going through there, and it was harmless enough. He threw a belt at him all right, but I don't think, no, they got tangled up, and then 2 or 3 others came in, but, you know, the game deserves better than that.
A yellow for Paddy O'Rourke, a yellow for Mickey Burke, and for Owen O'Gara. Inside the last 30 seconds, Dean Rock. Kevin McMenamin scored 1-5 for Dublin. Here is Paul Flynn. They haven't scored in 10 minutes. Owen O'Gara got their last scored a goal, and now he's got the point, and that, it would appear, is going to be the last point and the last score of the 2014 Leinster final. It is a 53rd Leinster title for Dublin. The real significant damage done by half-time and in the third quarter. Kevin McManaman's goal crucial. A tough day for Mick O'Dowd and for Meath, but Dublin, for the 4th successive year, are the kings of Leinster. They've beaten Meath by 320 to 1 goal and 10.
We're just happy with the victory. You know, the Leinster finals means a lot to the county of Dublin, and you know, the players just had the job to do, and they went out and did it to the best of their ability. So in that regard, we're happy. You know, we're just getting ready now for the quarter final and pure knockout. So it's going to be a big challenge for this team. We're happy with the progress, but we understand there's a big challenge in 3 weeks' time.
That's bitterly disappointing, you know, because the performance didn't reflect the work that we'd put in and the performance that we needed. We knew coming up here today that you know, individual players needed to give one of their best displays in a Meath jersey, and some fellas reached that standard, but as a group we didn't, you know, so we have to just look at that and regroup now. We're in the All-Ireland series, commences in 2 weeks' time. That's what we have to be ready for.
All right, joining us in studio now are Owen Mulligan, Tomás O'Shea and Dermot Earley. Owen, what did you make of Dublin's 9th title in 10 years? Nobody predicted it would be so easy.
No, I think they were ruthless today. They were definitely up for the fight. Big derby match. We all know about the Dublin Meath games, but just their overall, they've just raised the bar for everybody else. Their physique, their fitness, their athleticism, they were just brilliant all day long. Their forwards were dominant, and you have to give their defences, you know, credit too. They were excellent coming out with the ball.
Because Tomás, Jim Gavin keeps getting asked after games, you know, have you been tested yet? Have you been tested yet? There's not a lot he can do about it at this point.
No, Des. I suppose during the week a lot of people were saying that Meath were going to be the team that were really going to put it up to them, based, I suppose, on last year and based on what they did with Kildare as well. But they didn't really perform today. I still think Jim Gavin would have been happier with a closer match. They had to prepare with what they thought was coming down the tracks. And I suppose when you're preparing for a Leinster final, mentally Dublin were really perfect today. Do you know, they were prepared for Meath to throw everything at them, and they came out and they stood up and they performed really well. Meath obviously didn't perform the way they wanted to, but
were
Dublin,
they let?
They weren't, I suppose. You know, I mean, Dublin will be hyped up. The questions were put to Jim Gavin straight away afterwards. You know, you haven't met anything. I think Dublin, when it's put to them, I think they'll be so well prepared that everybody's saying that they can't put up with somebody throwing everything at them, and I think they will be prepared for somebody when they come along.
The point has been made earlier about the spread of scores. You've been looking at that again today, Dermot.
Yeah, I mean, look, against Laois, Dublin scored 221 with 14 different scores. It was no different against Wexford. They scored 225 with 12 different scores. And today they scored 320 with 10 different scores, so Jim Gavin will be very happy with that. In the last 3 games, Dublin have an average of 223 per game, so you know, that's very impressive scoring. That's probably the highest in the country, and you know, you can see it here that everybody's contributing. Even the subs that are coming on, we've had an average of 1-7 from the subs from the last 3 games as well. So that's huge, that's what you want when the game is in a balance, as Tomás has said. Maybe later on, when it comes to a tighter match, that we've all talked about the Dublin bench a couple of times, and the fact that they'll be able to come on and, you know, kick an average of 1-7 is very impressive. The one thing I suppose Jim will be looking at would be to reduce that wide tally, and he did kick 7 wides today, so it's something that they can work on if we are going to be, I suppose, picky. Then
it'll be 230 instead of 223. Yeah, no, I take your point. Now, one guy who used to be coming off the bench as an impact sub, but is now starting, is Kevin McManaman, and you were hugely impressed with him, Owen.
I was. I think he gets a raw deal. I think he's a great footballer. It's just he was all over the place today, out in front all the time, collecting ball. As you see here, it's turn of pace, and he guards the ball so well here as he go past the man, puts it to the other arm and takes a shot. Cooper was maybe free there, but you have to take these sort of chances when you're like trying to get into the first team. Again here, up, he kicks the ball, hits the post, and this is when actually the Brogan chance was the goal. You know, he was in the end of it, he was contributing, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. As a defender, Tomás, just, you know, what do you think of Kevin McManaman and his style?
Well, I suppose, as we know all about him down in Kerry, he's a direct runner. He just runs at goal. He takes you on. He's an aggressive, very strong guy. But it's direct lines with him. He's not a guy that runs. If you see from this, he runs straight at goal. He's going for goal every time. And he's a guy that can get a ball out near the 45 even, and you can't be guaranteed he won't go for goal. He's this kind of a confident guy. I suppose if he was any other county in Ireland, he'd be on the team straight away, you know. But the fact that Dublin have so many forwards,
that's the argument. Is what is his best position? And we would have always felt that it was coming off the bench because he always made an impact. But over the last number of games,
he didn't score the last day though, which is which is hard on him.
It's hard, and then you've got O'Gara coming on there and scoring 1-1.
Yeah.
So, what's the best forward line? But you seen there the goal, like, he had so much to do, and puts it on the roof of the net. He's a confident player.
Yeah. Okay. Now, take us through what you felt, Tomas, about Meath's lack of intensity.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, Des, look, we were all expecting Meath to bring physicality that Dublin hadn't seen so far. I mean, if you're talking about Dublin and where they can be beaten, you'd be talking about their goalie number one. But number two, you'd be asking for fellas to stick into their faces. Now, if you look at the couple of plays, now they did defend well at times, but for me, this is too easy. There was one hand put on. Cian O'Sullivan comes up the field and takes a handy score. Without one hand, they got that ball in 21 and they came all the way up the field without any hand on them. This was in the second half. Maybe the sails or the wind was going out of Meath's sails, but still, they should be putting hands on them. There's a lot of Meath men back, but they're not doing anything. There's, and this is far too easy. They have 3 or 4 options. Cian O'Sullivan's gone forward there as well. And, it's too easy in my eyes. I mean, the Meath teams of old had a reputation for being hard, for being physical. And during the week, we thought the same. I mean, here, this was too easy altogether. For me, I mean, if we were analysing when I was playing, if you look at it here from behind, this is Brian Meath coming back. For me, Brian Meath needs to make contact with Eoin O'Gara. He needs to put in a belt or something, and he doesn't, and he falls back, and he's well behind.
It's a more technical term than put in a belt, but I know what you mean.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the 2 full-backs inside, he just came in too easily. It's something that I suppose, look, Meath aren't out of it, and they'll be disappointed with the way things have gone today. But they still have a chance. They're into a quarter-final if they win the next game. So they've a good bit to work on.
Could it be the occasion got to them, that they're a better team than they look today?
I think they're still in progress. I think they got to the final. It's maybe a year too early, but I just don't. Nobody was beating Dublin today, as Tomas alluded to it. It was their mindset. They're up for the game,
But I still think they could have helped themselves a lot more. Sure. I mean, football-wise, grand. But what I just showed there now, there's no reason why they couldn't be uptight or they couldn't be a little bit more physical or a little bit more tighter. Do you know?
Okay. Well, sometimes this is their 3rd final in a row. It's their 3rd final defeat to Meath, and that can get into your psyche as well. And if you going up to the game and you're looking for that start and it doesn't happen, and you think, oh no, this is going to happen again, and that can have an influence on how you play during the game, and maybe that's why they didn't perform today. But I think that Meath team are better. They showed it against Kildare that they certainly are better, and I still think that they have a little bit of a way to go, but they will play some part in this championship yet.
Now, you mentioned influence. One of the guys who really impressed you for his influence on the game was Alan Brogan. Absolutely.
I mean, it's great to see Alan Brogan back, and it's something that Jim Gavin, I'm sure, is delighted to have. I mean, was injured last year, but this is him, Alan Brogan, coming out, looking up, playing that centre forward role, giving a very simple kick pass in towards Mannion. But not only that, if we see him there, he follows the ball, jinks inside, and then that trademark bounce, where he gets 2 or 3 extra yards on that bounce and slots it over the bar. He's also an option for a kick out. You can see him once he gets the ball, typical centre forward, always looking up, and gives a great ball in to O'Gara there, or to Mannion there. Nothing comes out of that, but still we can see him here. He shows that he's well got over his injury, agility to get out of a tackle and set up another attack. And this is the McManamon shot. Again, great vision into McManamon, who hits it off the crossbar. That subsequently falls to Bernard Brogan. Bernard took it off Alan's toe on that particular occasion. But again, he only scored 1 point today, but there we see him creating a goal chance.
He could have got a goal in the point.
He could have got a goal in the point as well, but it's great to see him back. I think he really drags half-backs all over the field. And when Kieran Kilkenny, first of all, when Alan Brogan got injured, they could replace him with Kieran Kilkenny. When Kieran Kilkenny got injured, now Alan Brogan is back. And I believe that last year he was close enough to playing in that All-Ireland final because he was flying in training. But it's great to see him back this year.
Okay. Now, you may have heard Meath made an allegation about Mickey Burke being bitten during the game. They didn't name the Dublin player involved. Now, this is the incident here, but We'll look at them. The pictures are inconclusive, really, Tomas. I mean, what did you make of this?
Look, I don't know. Just looking at it, I mean, I suppose Owen O'Gara was involved, and I think Owen O'Gara did very, very well not to react at all. I think he was down on the ground. I think he got 5 or 6 bangs into the head that anybody would have reacted. The Dubs have a great record this year. They've no black card. There's, you know, I think he's done very well. He's look, Des, you could be talking about till the cows come. I know for a fact that I would have reacted if I was Owen O'Gara on that ground. Now there is an allegation that maybe there was a bite of some sort. Now,
making some show his finger there to the referee.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, the way his head is down, there's no way that Owen O'Gara went to bite. I think it just should be forgotten about. It's not. It's. I don't know. Like, obviously, if a guy is going to stick a finger down towards your face or into your mouth or whatever way it is, if there is a bite, I think the Meath lads should have a look at themselves. They should have started that fight maybe in the first half, because
exactly, that's the point. I mean, you know, this is in the 63rd minute. You know, where was the fight beforehand? Aggression isn't about how you can get on in a rumble out in the middle of the field. It's about how hard you go for the ball. And in the past, Meath teams were known for that aggression. That's not what we want to see. Again, the pictures there are inconclusive.
Yeah.
You know, 4 players were booked out of this thing. But again, like Tomas said, we couldn't see there, but if there's a hand around your mouth or whatever it is, you know, what are you going to do?
But I think consciously Owen O'Gara didn't react to any of it. And I mean, before all of that, Des, before it was that there was a hand put up, that there was a bite there, Owen O'Gara could have reacted way earlier, and even afterwards when he got off the ground, he didn't react where everybody else was shoving and pushing. Like, so
he didn't react. The match was over.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The match was over. If somebody puts your finger in your mouth, what are you going to do? Blow it out? Do you know what I mean?
All right then. Well, this, just so you know, the Sunday game did try to contact both Dublin and Meath tonight, but we've received no response from either camp in relation to the incident. And the GA say they're awaiting the referee's report. All right, well, it's time to name our man of the match. Tomas, you have the nominees.
yeah, it is. We went for 3 dubs. Michael Fitzsimons, a year and a half out from championship football, always hard to come back, especially into a Dublin team that are flying. He had a great game today. We went for Alan Brogan. They're missing Kieran Kilkenny, but what a playmaker to come back. I've played against this man for years, and he had another terrific game, and he's having a great season, and he'd be vital for Dublin as the year goes ahead. And Kevin McManaman, who's broken our hearts, as I've said before, but another great performance by Kevin. He's really, really pushing to get into that team, and the way he's going, he'll stay there, yeah.
OK, and Dermot, the winner?
Yeah, we went for Kevin McManaman. I mean, 1-5 from play,